You are about to book a one-way ticket to the destination of your dreams. Oof, bestie, I am so excited for you. But I'm not here to over-romanticize some shit, okay? Moving abroad can be a bitch. You're trying to find a new apartment. What visa are you supposed to get? Wait. Do I need a bank account? What's the healthcare system looking like? Girl, it's a lot. Okay, let me not lie to you. But fear not, we're gonna be talking about all that in this video, okay? So grab your notebooks and your pens because class is in session, baby. Let's get into it. First on the agenda, money. Number one, debit cards. Your best friend is going to be a card that gives you refunds on those ATM fees, okay? Because most countries in Latin America are still very cash heavy. So you want to eat at a local spot. It's efectivo, mi amor. And the average card charges you like $7–10 per transaction. And this is where Charles Schwab comes in. Worldwide, I believe you can use any ATM and you get the refund, and the exchange rate they use is pretty good. So if you're coming from the US, for example, you want to apply for that card before you leave so that you can have everything sorted and you get here and smooth sailing. But I actually jumped on this pretty late. I only got mine a couple months ago in October. So I applied for it, used an American address, and then I called them up like, hey besties, I'm actually out of the country. Can I get the card? And they shipped it to me immediately. Look at that. Extremely urgent. Okay, Charles Schwab, you're the bomb. This is not sponsored at all. I'm just giving y'all the tea, okay? But yeah, look into a card that gives you these refunds because they're gonna come in very handy. On to credit cards. The big thing for credit cards in general is you want a card with no foreign transaction fees, because look at this shit. Rookie mistake. Oh, I didn't know. I was using one of my Chase beginner cards when I first got here and racking up them fees, okay? 3% every time you swipe your card, bitch. I was just in there like wait, and the thing was just running the bill up, okay? So make sure you get a card that does not have foreign transaction fees. Now, if you travel at least once a year, the Capital One Venture X card is your friend, okay? That thing, chef's kiss. Cannot recommend it enough. I actually low-key got it by mistake, but that's a story for a different day. I have a referral link in description, so click that. If you get approved, I buy you ice cream, okay? We celebrate. I also have the Chase Sapphire Preferred. She's cute too, but the Venture X is that girl, low-key, like, yeah. And in general, I would just advise you trying to sort out like all this finance stuff before leaving your home country, because sometimes it's hard. Like for example, my credit cards, they couldn't ship them internationally, so I had to go back into the US to get them and then come back. So you want to like take care of that. Now, in the event you can't get any of these cards, don't worry, I got you. Remitly.com. Remember that name, download that app. It's going to save your life, okay? Now, Remitly is especially going to come handy with bigger bills, especially rent. How Remitly works basically is you send yourself money and go pick it up with your ID. Now, another rookie mistake that I definitely made one too many times is you don't want to send huge amounts of money, especially your first few transactions, okay? Because your bank is going to be worried. Remitly is also going to be worried. Like, I'm gonna just tell you my story. Basically, I was like trying to pay my rents like 3 months up front. So I was like, I'm just gonna send the whole thing. And like my bank blocked the shit. Remitly like blocked my account. Like it was a mess. It was chaos. I had to be calling like, guys, no, please, for real, it's me. Like, it's a mess. But Remitly really did a good job like saving my ass and like being like, okay, you gotta wait a couple days, They just helped me resolve the whole thing. So even their customer service gives. This is not sponsored, even though I wish it was. Okay, Remitly, if you're watching this, call me baby. Now, bank account. I do not have much to report here because I did not get a bank account, okay? After getting the debit card and the credit cards and Remitly, I don't think you really need a bank account. And in somewhere like Colombia, you can only get one if you have a visa, which brings me to the next point, visas. So I am currently on the digital nomad visa. This visa typically allows people to live in a country for an extended period of time. However, they are not allowed to work in that country. Basically, to apply for the visa, you need to have a remote job because in your application, they're going to ask for a letter from your employer saying that, hey, yes, this person works for me and is allowed to work remotely. And then there's a bunch of other requirements, but you could go to the website of whatever country you're trying to go to and like look at the requirements. I don't need to read Google to you. You can apply it by yourself, but there's also agents and companies who handle these things. So if you don't like stress like me, you pay for the service. I had someone do mine for me, just sent her all my documents. You know, she told me what to do and not. So you have to get like health insurance, this and that. Just do it, and you typically would be approved. So this is when I did it a year ago. However, now there have been some added things like a background check and stipulation. I don't know how to pronounce this word, so let me know in the comments if you want me to elaborate on some of these things, but I just feel like the website tells you basically what to do. So my visa, I got it for a year. That feels like the standard. It used to be 2 years, but that hasn't been as common lately. So yeah, just so you know. Now, pro tip that you did not hear from me, okay? Don't tell anyone. This visa is really just a money grab for governments, because you don't really get rights and stuff, get like perks or, you know, anything special. So they don't really care what you do. Why am I saying that? Well, because you can forge some documents. What? Yes. For example, the letter from your employer. Many people do that. You did not hear this from me? Just get like the letterhead from your company or whatever, slap it on a paper, write the letter yourself, attach it to your thing. They don't really care. Like, yeah. Now, second pro tip, a lot of entrepreneurs have been having a hard time getting the digital nomad visa, at least here in Colombia, because when you're an entrepreneur, they ask for so many different documents because they want to make sure that you're not trying to start a business in the country. So that really does make it tougher. So I know, again, this is like a friend to friend chat. Like, I know people who are like, yeah, it's been so stressful. It was easier for me to like fake documents. So just to let you know that that's an option too. Sup, sexy. So I was talking to more friends, and basically the whole mishap with the whole entrepreneur situation is it really is about how you craft your letter of employment and, you know, finesse that, and also like show your finances, right? And one of these friends was actually kind enough to send me his letter, and so I'm gonna attach that in a link down below. So make sure you finish watching this video and then go grab that, and then you would see how to like structure things and craft it so that you could be approved. And I found some other sites with like a step-by-step guide on like how to do the whole application, you know, upload documents and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna link those down below. Go grab them when you need them. If you've learned something new so far, you know, give me a like and all that good stuff, you know, just so that YouTube knows that there's some good shit in here, you know what I mean? Okay, let's get back to the video. Now, there is also the investor visa. If you got it like that, listen up. The rule for this is the property must be at least 350 times the minimum monthly wage. So at the time of me making this video, your property needs to be around 130,000 US dollars, something like that. And it is cash up front. Okay, that's why this is not for me and my homegirls. Okay, the brokies. Yeah, there is no financing. It's not like, oh, let me like get a mortgage, put it on my credit card. No. So, but again, if you got the funds, then yeah, go ahead. Yeah. And the last one is the student visa. So the people who usually do this just sign up for some language school or something like that. And you typically have to be in class 10 hours a week. There are some schools that let you, you know, wiggle with that, but that's also an option. I think though that after some time you might not want to be doing classes anymore, so that definitely was not even an option for me. Well, because you also have to be paying for the classes, so you know, just giving you options. Now, a pro tip for moving to a country like Colombia. Depending on the passport you have, of course, you get 6 months as a tourist per year. Now, this 6 months renews every calendar year. So what some people do is they come here July 1st, 2024, for example, stay up till the end, December 31st, January 1st, the thing renews, and then you do January 1st to July, to the end of June. And just like that, you've done a whole year without needing to do visa hassle, okay? So that is a big pro tip. Definitely take advantage of that if you don't like headache. But if that's not your timing, then I feel like the digital nomad visa is pretty obtainable, so don't stress too much. So this is the general gist for Colombia, but a lot of other Latin American countries have these same types of visas, and also better. Colombia is actually one of the harder places to stay long term. Like, I know people who are like looking into things like Mexico has like pretty decent options for investor visa and their digital nomad situation. There's different options out there, so go do your research because there's some good stuff to be had. Okay, whew, that was a lot. Okay, let's take a 5-minute break, everyone. Go grab some water, use the bathroom. What was that? Oh, you like my shirt? Oh, thank you. It's new, actually. It's like, well, I've had it for almost 2 years, but I just took the tag off. I don't know. I just be like keeping some shit, but yeah, thank you. I like it too. Now, next on my list is apartment hunting. A general starting point is Airbnb, right? Most people would list their units on there, so you could go start there. However, a pro tip is Airbnb really be charging hella fees, and here they just throw all the fees onto the customer, so they don't really give a fuck. So if you notice that the unit you're interested in belongs to a company, find their website and reach out to them directly, because you're gonna get it cheaper that way. This is actually what I did for my first apartment. It was way cheaper when I reached out to them directly, and I actually got to bargain it down a little bit with my hot and sexy skills. So you could do that as opposed to Airbnb. Now, there's also local apartment hunting sites. So in the US, for example, there's Street Easy, there's Zillow. Colombia and other countries also have theirs. So you want to look out for those. You know, look at ads. Like, you're walking on the street, like a billboard might be a real estate company. Like, this is what I did when I first got here, honestly. I would like see these billboards. There's an email, there's a phone number. I'm texting them on WhatsApp. I'm like, hey, this is what I'm looking for in this neighborhood, this price range, what you got. Just typical apartment hunting stuff. It does feel daunting, especially because it's in Spanish, but we'll get to language later. But yeah, that's like my guide right now. If we're talking about risks and security, I haven't had too many problems with my apartments, thankfully. However, I know, like, I've heard some stories of someone like maybe taking a deal off Airbnb, for example, and maybe they paid a security deposit, and when it was time for them to leave, they didn't get it back. Things like that. I paid a security deposit in my first apartment, but I got it back. So I think you really just have to suss out. I just feel like this is where you have to have your guard up a little, you know, go with your intuition, right? Like, if you're renting from an individual, just feel them out, but going with a company would always be safe because, you know, they have a reputation to uphold, things like that. And hopefully you shouldn't run into too many issues. Now, number 4 on the list is healthcare. A country like Colombia and many other Latin American countries have good and affordable healthcare systems. America, take notes. So really, you just have to go into any hospital and ask them for what you want, and they would tell you the price, set you up, and you're good to go. Like, the issue that some foreigners might have is the Spanish, and that's where services / websites like Medicue are gonna come in handy. Now, I have a friend who swears by Medicue. He recommends it, loves it, all the things. I have not had a good time with them, it's just my truth. But they are good if you are looking for an English doctor. You just tell them what you're looking for, and you can ask them, hi, looking for an English doctor, and they would like give you the options. Now, for me, I think that one of the main reasons I haven't had a good time with them is that they give you gringo pricing, regardless of if you're asking for an English doctor or not. And they're sneaky about it. This is just my experience, and I think Medicue is actually in like all of Latin America, so maybe the agent that day was just trying to steal my money. Well, it also wasn't one time, but whatever. But basically, let me give you one example. I like asked for a procedure. They sent me up with an appointment, and I paid through Medicue. I got to the hospital and they gave me the receipt, and this shit was like low-key half the price of what Medicue charged me. So since then, I have never talked to Medicue again. I just go into a hospital and ask for what I want. It was like they charged me something like $40, but it was actually $20 if I just went directly to the hospital. And you know, $20 is not the end of the world, but shit, I'm on a budget, okay? That's like 4 lunches here. Don't steal my money for no reason. And sometimes you could walk into a hospital and ask if they have an English-speaking doctor, you know? But if you are new to town, I can appreciate the fact that having some direction with the help of these services would be a very good starting place. You know, like there's also other ones like Doctors for Expats, Doc, things like that. So, you know, if you're broke like me, shop around, see what prices they give you, and then decide who you want to go with. And last but definitely not the least, culture and community. This is a big one. And I would say everyone's experience of this is different, vastly. So I'm gonna have to leave you to come fuck around and find out, okay? But in general, most places have a lot of group chats that you can join. So there's WhatsApp group chats, there's Facebook group chats. So like especially more popping cities with a growing nomad expat community. So like Medellín, Buenos Aires, Argentina, Mexico City, the like main spots, like definitely there's a lot of group chats. So you could go, you know, that's honestly how I met a lot of the friends I've made so far. People host events, parties, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, that's definitely like there at your disposal. But learning Spanish would give you access to way more. And I would really advise that. I think that I've had as good of a time as I've had because I do speak Spanish and I'm able to really navigate differently than I feel like some other people. Like some people come here without speaking Spanish and just to each their own. It's just not something I can do. Like, one, because especially in somewhere like here, like most people don't speak English here. Like you're gonna find one or two, but like every time I've been to the bank or anything, like it's all in Spanish and they be rapping, okay? Like just typical like Spanish speed, which is like 2 times everyone else speed, 3 sometimes. But learning the language really does help you dive in. Like I go on hikes with like locals and things like that. So I think you would get a more authentic experience if you put in that effort. And I am going to add one last thing because this is on my spirit. When you go to someone else's country, be respectful of the space you're in and the people who are there, right? I would like to think this is common sense, but it's not. I have gotten comments from Colombians how like just about some of their experiences with like foreigners in general. And you don't want to be that person who's like confirming, you know, just biases they already have, right? And I'm gonna just talk about it. Americans can be very entitled. I have a friend who is very vocal about how Americans are the Karens of the world, of all races. So don't even try to like exclude yourself if you're not white. I think that there are certain privileges that come with growing up in America because of the culture, right? Things like customer is always right. And there's just like systems in place that make you think processes are a certain way, right? Like even credit cards are such a fucking privilege, right? But people don't realize that because it feels like the norm. So you go somewhere else and things aren't operating the way you expect them to. Don't start making a scene and just doing some shit, okay? Like that's how things go there. Observe and just be like, okay, this how y'all do? I see. Like, because people do notice these things, and again, you just don't want to be poster child for estos putos gringos. Like, you know, I just felt the need to say that because I don't want to be the one encouraging some condescending sluts to go fuck some shit up in someone else's land, okay? So when you're packing your bags, make sure to take some home training with you, okay? Hopefully you have some. Sorry, I had to say my piece, okay? Y'all know I don't really sugarcoat stuff. But yeah, I feel like those are the main things. If you were not taking notes, side eye. But don't worry, I got you. I'll be putting together a document with all the information we talked about today and more tips that I find out along the way. So if you want it for free 99, yes, I'm para Christmas. I'll have a link in the description. Go put in your email and I'll send it to you right away.